In the cold, sterile confines of a strike cruiser's launch bay, there is a silence unlike any other. It's not the absence of sound. The ship hums with the thrum of its plasma engines, the distant clang of machinery, and the vox chatter of 1,000 crew members at their stations. But inside the cramped metal shell of a drop pod, this cacophony fades into a single, low-frequency vibration, a feeling more than a sound. For the 10 Space Marines sealed within, this is the true silence, the silence before the storm. Each warrior is a giant, encased in ceramite power armor that makes the already tight space feel like a coffin. They are locked into their harnesses, bolted upright against the pod's inner walls. Their helmets are sealed, their internal vox systems on a closed, encrypted channel. Here, in the final minutes before deployment, there is no room for idle chatter. There is only focus, ritual, and the heavy weight of anticipation. Imagine being one of them. Your twin hearts beat a slow, steady rhythm, a biological metronome counting down the seconds. The air you breathe is recycled, tasting faintly of ozone and sanctified oils. Through the thick plasteel of your helmet's visor, you see only the reflections of your brothers opposite you, their own impassive masks staring back. You can't see their faces, but you know them better than anyone. You know the slight tilt of Sergeant Valeria's helmet means he's running a final diagnostic on his squad as targeting data. You recognize the way Brother Cashin's gauntlet twitches, a subconscious habit before he unleashes his heavy bolter. Inside your helmet, a stream of data flows across your vision. Target coordinates, enemy dispositions, atmospheric conditions, and the estimated time to impact. The chapter's tech marines have checked and rechecked every system, but it is the duty of every battle brother to know the mission parameters by heart. The litany of hate, a low, sonorous chant, might be playing softly through the private vox, a prayer to the Emperor and the Primarch to guide their aim and strengthen their resolve. For some chapters, like the Black Templars, this pre-battle prayer is a roaring declaration of faith. For others, like the Raven Guard, it is a whispered oath, a promise of swift, unseen death. The chapter serfs, robed and hunched, perform the final rites outside the pod. They anoint the adamantium hull with sacred unguents, their voices a low murmur as they chant blessings of protection and accuracy. They are the last mortal faces the Space Marines will see before they plunge into the heart of the enemy. The serfs' reverence is palpable. They are in the presence of demigods, the Emperor's chosen angels of death. As the final locking clamps engage with a heavy percussive thud, the serfs step back, their work done. The pod is now a self-contained instrument of war, an iron fist ready to be thrown. A single, piercing klaxon sounds throughout the launch bay. A green light flashes on the console inside the pod. This is it, the final moment of calm. The squad sergeant's voice cuts through the silence, crisp and devoid of emotion. Brothers, for the Emperor. A chorus of gruff, vox-distorted affirmations responds. For the Emperor. Then comes the lurch. A violent, gut-wrenching drop as the magnetic clamps release. The pod is jettisoned from the ship's belly, tumbling into the void. For a split second, there is weightlessness, a disorienting sensation, even for a post-human Astartes. Then the primary thrusters ignite. The acceleration is brutal, crushing you back into your harness with a force that would turn an ordinary human into a red paste. The pod shudders and screams as it plummets from low orbit, a man-made meteor aimed at a single point on the planet below. The outer hull begins to glow, first cherry red, then white hot, as it burns through the atmosphere. The air outside shrieks like a banshee, a sound of pure friction and fury. Inside, the temperature rises, but the armor's cooling systems keep the warriors comfortable, their vital signs stable. The only indication of the inferno outside is the flickering of the heat-warning runes on their HUDs and the violent, bone-jarring turbulence. The pod is a leaf in a hurricane, tossed and battered by atmospheric shear, yet its guidance systems, ancient and unerring, hold it true to its course. Through the vox you might hear the first signs of the battle raging below, the frantic, panicked shouts of the enemy as their augurs detect the incoming projectile. Incoming. Brace for impact. Their words are a foreign tongue, but the terror is universal. You can almost picture them scrambling for cover, their anti-aircraft guns swiveling desperately to find a target that is too small, too fast. A grim smile might touch your lips, hidden behind your helmet's impassive faceplate. They are afraid. Good. They should be. The retro thrusters fire in a final, deafening roar, a desperate attempt to slow the pod's terminal velocity. The deceleration is even more violent than the initial launch. The pod groans under the strain, rivets popping like gunfire. This is the most dangerous part of the descent. If the retros fail, the pod becomes a tomb, a crater of fused metal and shattered ceramite, but they do not fail. The machine spirit is strong. The final few hundred meters are a blur. The ground rushes up to meet you with impossible speed. The sergeant's voice cuts in again, a sharp command. Prepare for impact. Weapons free on my mark. You grip your bolter, the weapon feeling like an extension of your own arm. Your finger rests on the trigger stud. The targeting reticule in your vision locks onto the projected enemy positions outside. Then impact. It is not a crash, it is an arrival. The pod hits the ground with the force of an earthquake, the sound a deafening boom that shatters rock and deafens anyone nearby. The earth itself recoils. For a moment everything is chaos. Dust, smoke, and the smell of scorched metal fill the air. The pod's mission clock flashes 0. The silence is shattered forever. Explosive bolts detonate, blowing the 5 doors of the pod outwards to form a ready-made firebase. The harsh, alien light of the world floods in. The sounds of battle rush to meet you. The crackle of lost fire, the roar of Xenos beasts, the screams of the dying. Before the dust has even settled, before the enemy can even comprehend what has just happened, 10 7-foot-tall warriors of the Adeptus Astartes step out from the smoke and ruin. Their bolters are already raised, spitting explosive rounds into the shocked enemy ranks. The litany of hate is no longer a soft chant, but a thunderous war cry roared from every vox grill. The silence is over. The storm has made landfall. And for the enemies of the Imperium, the Emperor's fury has just begun. Thank you for watching this deep dive into the moments that define a Space Marine. If you enjoyed this journey into the heart of the 41st millennium, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more Warhammer 40,000 lore. Let us know in the comments what other quiet moments of the galaxy you'd like us to explore next. Until then, the Emperor protects.